This video is a branded marketing analysis of Rosé's solo career, about why she has succeeded so well in the West, but also where she struggles. Let's go over what a brand is though. A brand is your identity, your unique identity that makes you stand out next to your competitors. I know it seems crazy that the most successful re-debut out of all the Blackpink solos could have some major issues, but that's what we'll be getting in today. Starting with first though, the wins of her brand. Brand image. One of the biggest parts of Rosé's brand is her hair, specifically her curly blonde hair. She has been blonde since her Blackpink days, but the curls are a new thing she's added to her look. The styling works so well, not just because she looks super good in it, but also because it makes her stand out and is easily recognizable. She's also using this exact style everywhere, so it's like becoming her signature look. When you introduce yourself to a foreign industry, you need to be memorable, and Rosé just does that. What? I want to make a comparison to my Jennie video because both Rosé and Jennie use hairstyles in their branding, but I want to show the difference between Jennie's utilizing of her harsh bangs and Rosé utilizing her blonde curly hair. The difference is that Rosé is ridiculously consistent with her curly blonde hair. She's always blonde and has her hair styled in curls 90% of the time. Jennie's bangs are a common reoccurrence, but they're not as obnoxious as Rosé's blonde curly hair. When launching yourself into the West after being a K-pop idol for 8 years, you need to be obnoxious with your brand. You can slowly start changing it later on and evolving it, but in the beginning it needs to be, you have to have that signature style because it makes you, once again, easy to recognize and memorable. The next part of Rosé's brand is her clothing style. And on the topic of clothing, I want to give you guys a little outfit check. Rosé has a very persistent dressing style that adds to her brand. She's always seen wearing an oversized, casual, slightly tomboy, girl next door vibe. And like her hair, she always stays very consistent with her style. It makes her more recognizable, builds her own Rosé aesthetic, and continues to make her brand stronger. This next piece isn't an obvious one, but if you go through her Instagram, you'll notice the crazy amount of baseball hats she's always wearing in her posts. And not just in her posts, in her music videos as well. I know specifically Toxic Till the End, she wears a baseball cap. Hats not only add to her brand of what is Rosé, they also give her a selling point. If Rosé started a baseball cap line, it wouldn't be looked at as just another, celebrity cash grab. It would make sense for Rosé because she wears baseball caps so often. It's part of Rosé's image and part of Rosé's brand. Next thing I want to mention is makeup. Rosé has her own makeup style, which actually I was inspired by today. I tried to go for a very Rosé makeup look. She wears warm neutral browns on her eyes and a big overlined blurry lip, and also a neutral muted tone. To me personally, I feel like her nose contour stands out the most. It's the first thing I notice when I look at her makeup. I also notice her highlight placement. She has her own charm to K-beauty styles that ends up appealing to the West. Because if she stuck to the full K-beauty style, it wouldn't appeal to the West as much as what she's doing now does. Rosé is not just building her brand, she's building it in a way that's compatible with her target audience. Next, sonic and lyrical brand. Before we even talk about her brand, sonically and lyrically, I think it's important to dedicate part of this video to Apatı. I am thinking of solely making a video on Apatı, but I am going to discuss a few things here. If we're going to discuss Rosé's brand and success music-wise, we have to give credit where it's due. And the credit belongs to Apatı, the biggest song on her album, reaching insane global achievement because of its catchy chorus, fun concept, and Bruno Mars cameo. Lyrically, it was easy to sing along to and ridiculously catchy, but not childish and overbearing as it was paired with amazing vocal sections. It was also based off of the Korean drinking game and used the Korean word or the Korean slang apatı. This gained her respect from the Korean audience, seeing that she didn't fully abandon them in her quest for the West. The MV had one setting and used this playful and almost nostalgic concept that made it impossible not to watch once. But that wasn't the only good thing about the music video. It wasn't overwhelming for a new Western fan getting to know Rosé. It was the perfect introduction. Having this hit of a song as her pre-release was genius. It actually made her someone in the West. Now let's touch on her sonic brand. Rosé has established herself a sound. A very specific sound that will attract a specific audience. Throughout Rosé, we hear the use of her 80s and 90s inspired sounds alongside ballads and the pop-punk genre. We also hear a bit of rock, such as soulful rock, and indie rock. All these genres go hand in hand on this album. Each song follows a similar wavelength or a similar vibe sonically, the standouts being Game Boy with its video gamey sounds. Game Boy actually really reminds me of Tic Tac by Islet. I feel like it's Tic Tac's older sister. Despite this, all of her songs sound Rosé. She has developed the Rosé sound. But what really solidifies the signature sound is less the sound, but her actual lyrics. Rosé spends Rosie writing about heartbreaks. She touches on topics of self-worth and getting drinks, but majority of her songs are about heartbreak. Her very consistent song meanings add sad lover girl to her identity. All of these factors give Rosé a solid, recognizable, and as I've said way too many times, consistent brand. She is spottable, and you're able to make a mood board out of her. But how does this incredibly consistent brand have struggle spots? I'm going to be going over 3 things, starting with color identity. I actually got inspired to talk about this after having a conversation with someone in the comments about Rosé's signature color. To me, Rosé seems like she has a very weak color identity. Technically, her color is red. We can see this on her album cover and on her merch shirts. But she doesn't really apply it anywhere else. If she does, it's very, very incredibly light. When you think of Rosé, the words that come to mind are blonde, sad lover girl, and warm color scheme, but no specific color. Even though you can associate Rosé with red, she isn't red. She doesn't fully embody red, as for example Jennie does. I'm gonna take these off because they really hurt. This throws her off a bit because having a strong color identity is very helpful to having an easily recognizable brand. I think if she fully really leaned into a color, that would really help her, and also kind of random, but I feel like if she were to do another color besides red, even though red really suits her and it works with her album, because red might be too bold for Rosé's brand, I think if she went for like a lighter, like duller orange, I feel like that would actually suit her very well. And if she were to release the deluxe in the fall, I think that would be perfect. The next area that can cause her trouble is actually her lyrics. Her struggles aren't unrelatable, meaningless, or cringy lyrics. She struggles with too much consistency. As I've mentioned, she's very consistent in her messaging, what her lyrics are about, her story of her breakups. But she discusses this in every single song. This messes up her path to world domination because it makes her a bit too repetitive. Being consistent in your image and your personal brand is a good thing, but lyrically, if it's all you're singing about, literally all you're singing about, it can get a bit boring. Take a look at Olivia Rodrigo and Taylor Swift. Both famous for their heartbreak songs, you will notice how their albums include other topics such as growing up, jealousy, and experiences in the entertainment industry. They give their listeners a balance. Speaking of Taylor Swift, I want to bring up another problem Rosé has encountered. I also discussed this with someone in the comments, but wanted to bring this conversation here. Rosé's brand of sad lover girl, blonde, and red is very, very similar to a certain someone. Taylor's influence on Rosé is undeniable, and it's perfectly fine. You are allowed to be inspired by others. It's the natural process of being an artist. The problem with Rosé is for the Western audience that is incredibly familiar with Taylor Swift, she can come off as just another copy, and she has already been facing some accusations. If Rosé can evolve her brand and add a bit more of her own charm, she can save herself from the Taylor 2.0 accusations. Rosé had made a name for herself in the West. She successfully had everyone singing her song, but it's up to her and her team to make her a pop icon or a one-hit wonder. That is a bit of a stretch as she's Rosé, she's never gonna flop, but you get what I'm saying. I hope with her next album, or as I've heard her deluxe, she's able to polish her brand up a bit more. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for almost 3K subscribers. I will hopefully see you in my next video. Oh, whoa, I need to stop talking.